Happy weekend, members of the Altcoin Buzz Army. Hope you're having a great one so far. We're going to be discussing some positives. The market is up on this Saturday. We'll be talking about Bitcoin's destiny here as it moves through this proposed or hypothesized Wyckoff distribution. Plan B is saying that $47,000 is still in play for August, which is next month, believe it or not, and that we've not yet reached all-time highs for this cycle. We're going to be discussing the fact that the supply metrics look very positive in terms of Bitcoin and Ethereum supply on exchanges. There's also the fact that Grayscale has now added Cardano as its third largest holding, and as is to be expected, that project, along actually with the rest of the market, is up. We'll take a look at all of this, guys. If you like this kind of content, Bitcoin, blockchain, cryptocurrency, and altcoins, be sure to like and subscribe to Altcoin Buzz News. All right, so we're seeing some green numbers on this Saturday, and traditionally that's not normally the case for weekends, but the market now up 4.9%. I think we're at sort of a decision point right now where we're going to be able to see over the next 48, maybe 72 hours, really whether or not this hypothesized Wyckoff structure is what we're following or what Bitcoin is following more broadly, the entirety of the cryptocurrency market. The idea being that right now, it's suggested that we're leaving phase C. We've established higher lows, and that now we're going into phases D and phases E, which will ultimately be rocky. Like, don't get me wrong, nothing is smooth in this space. Even if you're going up with a lot of volatility, right? But the suggestion is that if, in fact, we are following this particular structure, this Wyckoff distribution, then yes, there's going to be volatility, but it's going to be volatility to the upside. And I think once we hit sort of the upper 30,000s, maybe $40,000, I'm going to be more convinced. Once we get past that $42,000 hurdle, which has acted as major resistance now in a couple of different instances, that I think will be the confirmation for me that not only are we going to be a lot healthier, but I think that'll confirm for me as well that this so-called Wyckoff distribution is very much the rails that Bitcoin is moving on. So look, it's nice to see Bitcoin up 3.4%, Ethereum up 7.4%, and Cardano in at number 4 up 4.9% based on some very positive Grayscale news. We'll get to that in just a second. Firstly, on the dailyhodl.com, Bitcoin and Ethereum supply in and of themselves are a very positive indicator right now, and they're helping the market to express some positivity. The supply is dropping on major exchanges. As you guys know, the less there is on exchanges, so the fewer BTC, the fewer Ether there are on exchanges, it stands to reason that the fewer people are out there trying to sell those assets actively. So that's a good thing. This would suggest a changing tide in the favor of bulls. Quote, Ethereum holders continue to make history by lowering the percent of ETH held on exchanges to its lowest ratio since November 2018. We did cover this a little bit the other day, but I just wanted to remind you guys that this is indeed a positive metric in terms of cryptocurrency analysis, right? You wouldn't think that low BTC and Ether supplies on exchanges is a good thing until you kind of realize that the only reason people hold their assets on exchanges is to sell those assets. So this is indeed a good thing. Cointelegraph.com. Bitcoin spring Wyckoff groundhog indicates crypto winter may last another 6 weeks. So this is one analyst's opinion. Take it with a grain of salt. However, there is a little bit of a bearish variable here that I think is important, and that's the fact that you have the locked Grayscale Bitcoin trusts, which are going to be unlocked on July 12th and July 17th. A lot of Bitcoin is all of a sudden going to be unlocked. I think it's something like 18,000 BTC. And the owners of that Bitcoin will have the option to sell it. Now, will they choose to sell it when the asset is hopefully on its way up? Maybe, maybe not, but that is their prerogative. They will be able to. So let's read ahead here. So the Wyckoff accumulation technical chart pattern has become the latest trending topic when anticipating where the price of Bitcoin may go next. Some analysts have said that BTC's recent dip below $29,000 signaled the spring phase, which will soon be followed by a climb higher. That is my opinion, although it's not something that I feel can be confirmed just yet. For the time being, that's still the hypothesis. But if everybody more or less, or a majority of people kind of agree that that's the hypothesis, it sort of almost becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And I feel that this Wyckoff name is not really something that has been referenced much other than in the last 1 or 2 months in cryptocurrency. So a lot of people are definitely aware of what's going on. However, here's something that may threaten the recovery. So one of the biggest barriers to Bitcoin's recovery and higher prices has been identified as now what's the unlocking of the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust for a lot of the asset owners. So a large amount of BTC is going to be unlocked in mid-July. In fact, taking a look at the numbers, on July 12th, 2,000 Bitcoin is going to be unlocked. And on July 17th, 16,000 Bitcoin will be unlocked for a total of 18,000 BTC. Now that's a lot. And I'm sure the owners of some of that BTC will choose to sell, whether it's a majority or a minority. I don't know. I think, in my opinion, and I mean, it remains to be seen. I don't know at this time, and I'm just pontificating here. But I think we're going to continue to see a rally to the upside. We're going to continue to see higher prices and that steady price climb in the D and E phases. However, this kind of may extend things a little bit. So for the sake of argument, maybe let's say phase D, for the sake of argument, would have taken a month. It may now take 5 or 6 weeks or a little bit longer. Who knows? I don't think this is going to derail everything because, again, I don't believe a majority of those Bitcoin holders will choose to sell at a time when really everybody expects the market to be recovering violently to the upside. But some of them will choose to sell, or some of them will choose to sell a certain portion. So I think it suggests that, yes, the recovery may suffer a little bit as a result. Don't forget that Plan B remains wildly optimistic. This from yesterday. My on-chain data color overlay in the chart below tells me this bull is not over and 64K was not the top. That is in line with the stock to flow model. Also, my floor indicator, not based on S2F, says we will not go below 47,000 August close. Very interesting. It could be. And again, this is not gospel. This is to be taken with a grain of salt. This is flexible. But it does suggest that despite what's happening right now, there's still a lot of optimism and things can change very, very quickly in this space. That fear and greed index needle is going to be flipped very, very quickly, in my opinion. Let's move on to the positive now, because I'm not saying that was negative stuff, the fact that 18,000 Bitcoin is going to be unlocked, but it does present sort of a variable that you have to take into account. Now, maybe none of that Bitcoin will be sold, but it's possible that a good chunk of it will. So call that FUD or call that a negative component over the course of the next few weeks if you want. Better to hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. That's kind of the camping wilderness mentality that I subscribe to. But let's move on now fully into positive news, because speaking of Grayscale, they've also made Cardano their third largest holding. So Grayscale has announced that they've added Cardano ADA to its large cap fund. The ADA holdings now make it the third largest holding in the fund behind Bitcoin and Ethereum. The company exposure to ADA is currently 4.26%, with Bitcoin making up 67.47% and Ethereum 25.39% respectively. In fourth place is Bitcoin Cash with 1.03%. So Cardano, in terms of USD value, making up over 4 times the value that they allocate to Bitcoin Cash. Very, very interesting. And it comes as no surprise that as a result, you all members of the Altcoin Buzz army are big devotees of Cardano for good reason, as am I. Cardano up, actually it's not up above even sort of what Ethereum is doing today, but Cardano still up 4.8%, leading most other projects. But it's interesting, if you take a look, there are some that have outperformed Cardano, including Uniswap, including Solana, including Ethereum Classic for some reason, Internet Computer, and 1 or 2 others. Aave up very nicely, by the way, today, 15.3%. But Cardano up a nice steady 4.8%. And this is shedding more and more light on a great project, which is getting a lot of favorable press as of late. Everybody's covering this. The Daily Hodl, world's largest crypto asset management firm, launching support for Cardano. Cardano ADA becomes the latest addition to Grayscale Digital Large Cap Fund. And here on CryptoPotato.com, over $30 billion worth of ADA now staked on Cardano. So this is in parallel with that Grayscale news. But don't forget that among ADA holders, you have just an unbelievable majority, actually, that are staking their asset. It's unlike anything else. ADA, the cryptocurrency fueling the Cardano blockchain, now has over $30 billion worth staked on the network. That's over 70% of the token's circulating supply, while making Cardano the most capitalized blockchain by staked value. Even Ethereum is a distant second at about $12 billion, and the market cap of Ethereum is much, much higher than the market cap of Cardano. So that percentage in terms of staked Ethereum is much, much lower. Like 70% is unbelievable. It's untouchable in the space. So good news all around. There's not actually a whole lot more going on, but if you haven't checked out yesterday's video, please be sure to do so. We talked about STMX, StormX, and their major 5-year sponsorship deal with the NBA, the Portland Trail Blazers. You now have some outlets that are catching up with that news. Cointelegraph.com here. NBA's Portland Trail Blazers to wear crypto logo for the next 5 years. We also talked about this yesterday. JP Morgan, ultra bullish news. Almost butting heads with Jamie Dimon and his outlook, his philosophies. You have analysts over at JP Morgan that are saying Ethereum 2.0 could jumpstart a $40 billion staking industry. I think that's a modest number. I don't see why it couldn't go much, much higher. Maybe not initially, but over the long term. I mean, this is the future. DeFi and Ethereum 2.0 by extension really does represent the future of finance. If you're not staking, if you're not earning passive income, you're missing out. It's that simple. So nice short video today, everybody. Do be sure you're following us on all the regular social media channels. Keep checking back into altcoinbuzz.io for all the latest. Like, subscribe, share, hit the bell to receive notifications if you enjoyed today's video. Best of luck if you do choose to invest on this Saturday. Have a terrific weekend. None of this is financial advice, as you know, but all the very best of luck if you do choose to invest. Stay safe. And as always, we do hope to see you again soon in our next video. Take care.